There's something undeniably magnetic about the idea of lost cities, places swallowed by time, hidden beneath jungles, buried in deserts, or drowned beneath the waves. Think of Atlantis, that legendary island said to have vanished in a single day, or El Dorado, the golden city that lured explorers into the heart of South America. These names stir our imagination, don't they? They whisper of grandeur, of civilizations that once thrived and then disappeared, leaving behind only fragments of their stories. But here's the thing, these famous lost cities are just the beginning. For every Atlantis or El Dorado, there are dozens of other forgotten places equally astonishing, equally mysterious, waiting to be rediscovered. Picture this: entire cities, once bustling with life, now silent and unseen. Some were abandoned due to war or disaster, others slowly reclaimed by nature, their streets choked by vines, their temples swallowed by sand. And yet, their secrets linger. Archaeologists, explorers, and even ordinary people stumbling upon strange ruins have pieced together clues that hint at these lost worlds. From the sunken ruins of ancient ports to jungle-shrouded metropolises, these places aren't just relics of the past, they're puzzles begging to be solved. What happened to the people who lived there? What treasures, what knowledge might still lie hidden beneath centuries of dust? That's the thrill of lost cities. They're not just footnotes in history books, they're invitations to adventure, to discovery. And while some, like Pompeii or Machu Picchu, have been found and studied, countless others remain out there, hidden in plain sight or waiting beneath layers of earth and legend. Today, we're setting out on a journey to uncover 30 of these forgotten places, cities that vanished from maps and memory, yet refused to fade entirely. Some might be familiar, others utterly surprising, but each one holds a story that could rewrite history. So, are you ready to step off the beaten path and into the unknown? Let's begin. Beneath the waters of the Mediterranean, near the mouth of the Nile, lies a city lost for more than 1,000 years, Heracleion. Once a thriving hub of trade and religion, this grand Egyptian port was where the Nile met the sea, a place where merchants from across the ancient world gathered. Temples rose beside bustling docks, statues of gods and pharaohs watched over crowded streets, and ships carried gold, incense, and spices to distant lands. Heracleion wasn't just a city, it was a bridge between Egypt and the wider Mediterranean, a place where cultures mingled and history was made. Then, sometime around the 8th century, it vanished. The sea swallowed Heracleion whole, leaving only whispers of its existence in ancient texts. For centuries, scholars debated whether it was real or just another legend until the year 2000, when underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudio and his team made an extraordinary discovery. Buried beneath layers of sand and silt, they found towering statues of gods, gold coins, shipwrecks, and even the ruins of a massive temple dedicated to Ammon, one of Egypt's most powerful deities. The city wasn't just real, it was remarkably preserved, frozen in time beneath the waves, but the mystery of Heracleion's fate still lingers. Why did it sink? Was it a sudden catastrophe, an earthquake or flood? Or did rising sea levels slowly claim it over time? And what else remains hidden in the submerged ruins? Every dive reveals new treasures, from personal items like jewelry and children's toys to inscriptions that could rewrite our understanding of ancient trade routes. Heracleion's rediscovery reminds us that the past isn't always lost just waiting silently for the right moment to resurface. Deep in the rugged hills of southern Greece, where olive groves stretch toward the horizon, lies a city born from legend, Tenea. According to ancient myths, this was no ordinary settlement. Its founders were said to be Trojan prisoners brought here after the fall of Troy as spoils of war. Imagine that for a moment, a city built by the survivors of one of history's most famous conflicts, a place where Trojan culture might have endured far from home. Historians whispered about Tenea for centuries, referencing it in texts as a thriving hub of trade and mystery. but its exact location remained elusive until 2018, when archaeologists made a breakthrough. They uncovered walls, floors, and even intricate mosaics near the modern village of Chiliomodi, artifacts that pointed unmistakably to Tenea. But here's where the puzzle deepens. Despite its prominence in ancient accounts, almost no written records from Tenea itself have survived. Why was its history deliberately erased, or did time simply scatter its stories to the wind? The city's wealth is evident in the ruins. Fine pottery, coins, and even a Roman bathhouse suggest prosperity. Yet its people remain silent, their voices lost to the ages. Now, as excavations continue, each shovel of earth could reveal answers. Could there be hidden archives beneath the soil, waiting to rewrite what we know about the Trojan diaspora? Or perhaps evidence of Tenea's rumored secret ties to the oracle at Delphi? Every discovery peels back another layer of this enigmatic city, one that thrived in the shadows of myth and history alike. Tenea isn't just a rediscovered ruin. It's a conversation between legend and reality, a place where the echoes of Troy might still linger. Hidden beneath the towering trees of Cambodia's Phnom Kulen Plateau, where roots twist like serpents around ancient stones, lies the lost city of Mahendraparvata, once the beating heart of the early Khmer Empire. Founded in the 8th century, this sprawling metropolis predates even the iconic Angkor Wat by centuries, yet its story was nearly erased by time. Imagine a city of grand temples and bustling marketplaces, where priests chanted beneath sacred peaks and artisans carved intricate statues of gods. Mahendraparvata wasn't just a settlement, it was the cradle of Khmer power, a place where kings forged an empire that would dominate Southeast Asia for generations. For centuries, the jungle guarded its secrets. Thick foliage and shifting earth concealed the ruins so completely that even locals spoke of them only in whispers. Then, in 2012, modern technology tore back the veil. Archaeologists armed with LiDAR, a laser mapping tool that pierces through dense vegetation, revealed a hidden grid of roads, canals, and temples stretching across the plateau. Suddenly, the scale of Mahendraparvata became clear. This was no outpost, but a meticulously planned urban center, a blueprint for the empire that followed. Yet uncovering its physical remains has been a battle against nature itself. Excavations here aren't just about brushing dust off artifacts, they're about wrestling with roots that pry apart ancient bricks, navigating landmines left by decades of conflict, and racing against looters who hunt for treasure. Each discovery, from sandstone carvings to evidence of a vast water management system, hints at a society far more sophisticated than historians once believed. Why then was this city abandoned? Some point to environmental collapse, deforestation, or failed crops, while others speculate about political upheaval. The truth might still lie buried, waiting for the next stroke of luck or technology to reveal it. Mahendraparvata's resurrection isn't just rewriting history, it's a testament to human ingenuity. From LiDAR's high-tech sweep to the painstaking work of archaeologists on their knees in the mud, every clue pulled from the earth adds another piece to the puzzle. And with each piece, we move closer to understanding how a city lost for over a millennium helped shape one of the world's most magnificent civilizations. In the arid landscapes of northern Mexico, where the Chihuahuan Desert stretches endlessly, lies the enigmatic ruins of Pacumeya, a city that defies expectations at every turn. Built by the Casas Grandes people between the 12th and 15th centuries, this wasn't just another pre-Columbian settlement. Instead, it was a vibrant crossroads, a place where Mesoamerican and Southwestern cultures collided in the most astonishing ways. Walk through its remnants today, and you'll see structures unlike anything else in the region. Multi-story adobe buildings with intricate ventilation systems, ceremonial mounds that echo distant influences, and even evidence of a sophisticated water distribution network that turned this desert outpost into an oasis of life. What makes Pacoima truly mesmerizing, though, isn't just its architecture, it's the mysteries etched into every wall. Take the iconic House of the Macaws, a complex where archaeologists uncovered the remains of over 300 scarlet macaws, birds native to rainforests hundreds of miles south. Why were these tropical creatures here in the heart of the desert? Some believe they were prized for their feathers, used in rituals or trade. Others speculate Pacoima served as a breeding center, a hint at the city's far-reaching connections. And then there's the puzzle of its downfall. By the 15th century, Pacoima was abandoned, its grand buildings left to crumble under the sun. Was it conflict that drove its people away? Climate change evidence points to signs of violence, burned structures, hastily discarded treasures, but also to a possible environmental collapse. Recent studies suggest prolonged droughts may have strained its delicate water systems, turning a thriving metropolis into a ghost town. Yet even in ruin, Pacoima refuses to give up all its secrets. Ongoing excavations and artifact analyses reveal traces of trade goods from as far away as the Pacific coast and the American Southwest, painting a picture of a city at the center of a vast, interconnected web. Could it have been a hub for turquoise, a mediator between distant cultures? Every broken pot, every etched symbol, whispers of a society far more complex than historians once imagined. The story of Pacoima isn't just about loss, it's about resilience, about a city that thrived against the odds, bridging worlds before vanishing into legend. And with each new discovery, we're reminded that some histories aren't buried, they're waiting patiently for us to listen. Rising from the savannas of southern Africa, the stone ruins of Great Zimbabwe stand as silent witnesses to a civilization long shrouded in mystery. Built between the 11th and 15th centuries, this sprawling complex of granite walls and towers stretches across nearly 800 hectares, a testament to architectural ambition on a scale unmatched in its time. The most striking feature, these structures were built entirely without mortar. Each stone was carefully shaped to fit snugly against its neighbors, creating walls that have withstood centuries of wind, rain, and doubt. For generations, European colonizers refused to believe Africans could have engineered such marvels. They spun wild theories about Phoenician traders or even the biblical Queen of Sheba being responsible. But archaeological evidence tells a different story. Great Zimbabwe was unquestionably the work of the Shona people, a thriving center of politics, trade, and spirituality. Artifacts unearthed here, a Chinese porcelain, Arab coins, Persian glass paint a picture of a city connected to distant worlds. This was no isolated kingdom. It sat at the heart of a trading network stretching from the Swahili coast to the Indian Ocean, dealing in gold, ivory, and perhaps even slaves. At its peak, an estimated 18,000 people walked these streets. The conical tower at the center of the royal enclosure still baffles researchers today. Some believe it symbolized grain storage, a nod to the kingdom's agricultural wealth. Others think it held spiritual significance, a link between earth and ancestors. Then there's the mystery of its decline. By the mid-15th century, Great Zimbabwe was abandoned. Did overpopulation drain its resources? Did shifting trade routes starve its economy? Or was it internal strife that splintered the kingdom? Local legends speak of a curse, of rulers who angered the gods and brought ruin upon themselves. More tangible clues suggest environmental strain, deforestation, and soil exhaustion may have turned a thriving metropolis into a cautionary tale. Whatever the truth, Great Zimbabwe refuses to be forgotten. Its stones whisper of a time when African innovation built wonders that defied the world's expectations, and its legacy endures as both a monument and a question mark. The Amazon rainforest has swallowed countless secrets, but few have tantalized explorers quite like the legendary lost city of Z. This fabled metropolis, said to glimmer with gold and tower above the jungle canopy, became an obsession for British adventurer Percy Fawcett in the early 20th century. He wasn't chasing mere folklore, he'd uncovered fragments of manuscript in Rio de Janeiro's National Library, Portuguese accounts from the 1700s describing a magnificent stone city hidden deep in the Mato Grosso. To Fawcett, this wasn't just a story, it was a calling. His expeditions read like pages from a thriller. In 1925, Fawcett ventured into the Amazon with his son and a friend, armed only with machetes, a sextant, and unshakable conviction. Their last known dispatch spoke of entering the land of ancient wonders before vanishing without a trace. The disappearance sparked a century of speculation. Some claimed indigenous tribes killed them, others whispered they'd found Z and never returned. But what makes this legend so enduring isn't just the mystery of Fawcett's fate. It's the question of whether Z ever existed at all. Modern archaeology offers tantalizing clues. In the 1990s, satellite imaging revealed geometric earthworks in the upper Xingu region, grids of roads and plaza like clearings buried under centuries of growth. These match descriptions of Kuhakugu, a network of settlements built by the pre-Columbian Xingu people. Could Kuhakugu have inspired Z? The parallels are striking. Sophisticated urban planning, raised causeways, even evidence of ceremonial centers. But there's a twist. While Kuhakugu was real, it lacked the golden spires of Fawcett's dreams. So why does the myth persist? Perhaps because the Amazon still guards its truths. Even today, less than 10% of the rainforest has been systematically explored. New LIDAR surveys uncover hidden earthworks almost annually, proving indigenous civilizations were far more advanced than once believed. Z may not exist as Fawcett imagined, but the jungle's real lost cities quietly waiting beneath the green expanse are no less extraordinary. The name Troy echoes through history not just as a city, but as a symbol, the ultimate story of war, love, and deception. For centuries, scholars dismissed it as pure myth, a fictional backdrop for Homer's epic tale of the Trojan War. That all changed in the 1870s when a self-taught archaeologist named Heinrich Schliemann became obsessed with proving its existence. Armed with little more than a dog-eared copy of the Iliad and relentless determination, he set out to find the fabled city where Greeks and Trojans once clashed. What Schliemann uncovered at Hisarlik, a windswept hill in northwestern Turkey, stunned the world. Not one city, but 9, each built atop the ruins of the last, a layered timeline stretching back 5,000 years. The most dramatic moment came when he blasted through layers with dynamite, a reckless move by modern standards, and uncovered what he called Priam's treasure, gold jewelry, silver vessels, and a dazzling golden headdress he claimed belonged to Helen of Troy herself. Later analysis proved these artifacts were far older than the Trojan War era, but the damage was done. Schliemann had thrust Troy into the realm of reality. Today, the debate rages on. Which of these layers truly corresponds to Homer's Troy? The 7th layer, known as Troy 7a, shows signs of violent destruction, burned buildings, arrowheads embedded in walls dating to around 1280 BC, close to the traditional timeline of the war. But skeptics point out that conflicts were common in the Bronze Age, and this evidence alone doesn't confirm Homer's story. Meanwhile, some researchers argue Troy 6, with its grand palaces and cyclopean walls, better matches the Iliad's description of a wealthy, formidable city. The controversy doesn't end there. Recent excavations reveal Troy was far more than a battleground. It was a cosmopolitan hub, its strategic position controlling trade between the Aegean and Black Seas, making it staggeringly wealthy. Pottery from Greece, amber from the Baltic, and seals from Mesopotamia tell of a city deeply connected to the ancient world. And then there's the Hittite connection. Clay tablets from the Hittite Empire mention a troublesome vassal state called Wilusa, now widely believed to be their name for Troy. Could this be the missing link between legend and history? Every layer of Hisarlik whispers a different story, from earthquake-shattered foundations to hastily dug mass graves. The real Troy might never be pinned to a single stratum, but perhaps that's fitting. Like all great legends, it refuses to be confined not by time, not by dirt, and certainly not by our expectations. What Schliemann began is far from over. With each passing year, new technologies and fresh excavations peel back another page of Troy's endlessly compelling saga. Off the coast of modern-day Gujarat, where the Arabian Sea meets the Gomti River, lies a legend wrapped in waves, the lost city of Dwarka. Hindu scriptures paint it as nothing short of divine, a majestic metropolis of gold and silver, its towering gates adorned with jewels, its streets humming with life. This wasn't just any city, it was the kingdom of Lord Krishna himself, a celestial haven said to have vanished beneath the ocean when Krishna departed the earth. For centuries, these stories were dismissed as poetic allegory, until marine archaeologists began pulling evidence from the seabed that blurred the line between myth and history. Divers exploring the depths near present-day Dwarka have uncovered walls submerged under 60 feet of water, stone anchors weighing hundreds of pounds, and pottery shards dating back over 3,000 years. The most striking find, a rectangular structure with pillars eerily matching ancient descriptions of Krishna's court. But here's where science and scripture collide. Geological studies suggest this region experienced catastrophic flooding between 3,500 and 3,000 years ago, likely due to rising sea levels or seismic activity. Could this explain Dwarka's disappearance, not as a miraculous vanishing act, but as a real city swallowed by the ocean? Yet the mystery deepens. While some artifacts align with the traditional timeline of Krishna's era, others are far older, hinting at multiple layers of settlement. A few researchers propose Dwarka might have been rebuilt over centuries, each iteration sinking until only legends remained. Others point to underwater structures stretching nearly 9 kilometers offshore, far larger than a single city's remains. Are these fragments of an ancient port network, or evidence of a civilization more advanced than we've imagined? Local fishermen still whisper of strange shapes glimpsed beneath the waves during low-tide walls, steps, even what look like submerged streets. Modern sonar mapping adds weight to these tales, revealing grid-like formations that defy natural explanations. But perhaps the most compelling clue lies in a detail from the Mahabharata, where Krishna foresees Dwarka's demise and orders its evacuation. If true, it would mean the city's drowning wasn't just a disaster, it was a prophecy fulfilled, a deliberate end to an era. Whether Dwarka was a spiritual metaphor, a thriving coastal capital, or both, its legacy endures. Every artifact pulled from the seabed is a verse in an unfinished epic, one that challenges us to reconsider how myths are born. After all, isn't every legend just a truth waiting to be dredged up from the depths of time? Deep in the mosquito-thick jungles of eastern Honduras, where vines snake around ancient stones like nature's own archaeologists, legend speaks of a place called Ciudad Blanca, the White City. For centuries, indigenous tales described it as a paradise of white-walled temples where a monkey god guarded untold treasures. Conquistadors searched for it in vain, leaving behind only cryptic accounts of a great settlement hidden in the wilderness. Explorers vanished chasing rumors, and the jungle swallowed their footprints. It became the stuff of campfire stories until technology finally tore through the green curtain. The breakthrough came in 2012 when a LiDAR-equipped plane buzzed over the Musquisha rainforest, its lasers piercing through layers of foliage to map the terrain beneath. What the scans revealed was staggering, not just one city but an entire lost civilization. Plazas, pyramids, and earthen mounds emerged from the digital shadows, arranged with precision across the valley floor. Archaeologists christened it the City of the Jaguar, but its true identity remains hotly debated. Could this be the mythical Ciudad Blanca, or something even more extraordinary? Expeditions to the site have uncovered stone sculptures half buried in the mud, a snarling jaguar head, a throne etched with intricate geometric patterns, and most hauntingly, a cache of ceremonial metatest grinding stones adorned with zoomorphic carvings. These artifacts whisper of a culture deeply connected to nature, where jaguars weren't just animals but spiritual intermediaries. Yet what's truly startling is their stylistic uniqueness. Unlike the Maya or Aztec, these carvings bear no clear cultural fingerprints, suggesting a society that flourished outside known Mesoamerican networks. Dating the site has been tricky. Initial estimates place its peak between 1000 and 1400 CE, a time when Central America's great empires were rising and falling. But why did this city vanish? Soil samples hint at human-caused deforestation, while some researchers point to evidence of ritualistic destruction, broken artifacts arranged in deliberate patterns, as if the city's own people staged its farewell. The jungle still guards its secrets fiercely. Every expedition battles venomous snakes, relentless rains, and the ever-present threat of looters. Yet each discovery rewrites the narrative of pre-Columbian Honduras, proving it wasn't just a blank space between empires, but a cradle of innovation in its own right. Ciudad Blanca may never surrender all its mysteries, but that's the allure of lost cities. They're not just ruins, but conversations across time, daring us to listen. High on a windswept plateau in eastern Turkey, near the modern border with Armenia, the ruins of Ani stand as a haunting echo of a golden age. Once known as the City of 1,001 Churches, this medieval marvel was the capital of the Bagratid Armenian kingdom at its peak in the 10th and 11th centuries. Imagine a bustling metropolis where merchants from the Silk Road haggled in crowded bazaars, where scholars debated in grand academies, and where the skyline was studded with spires of churches built in an architectural style so advanced it still leaves experts in awe. Ani wasn't just beautiful, it was a powerhouse. Positioned at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, it thrived as a hub of commerce, culture, and religion. Taxes from passing caravans filled its coffers, enabling rulers to commission masterpieces like the Cathedral of Ani, designed by the same architect behind Armenia's iconic Holy Trinity Church. Its dome, supported by a revolutionary system of intersecting arches, seemed to defy physics. Then there's the Church of the Holy Savior, a delicate rotunda that once housed a fragment of the true cross, drawing pilgrims from across Christendom. But fortune is fickle. In 1064, the Seljuk Turks stormed Ani's walls, marking the beginning of its slow unraveling. Earthquakes shattered its buildings, Mongol invasions stripped its wealth, and shifting trade routes left it isolated. By the 14th century, the city was effectively abandoned, its glory fading into ghost stories. Yet the stones refused to fall completely. Walking through Ani today, you'll find churches half collapsed but still standing, their frescoes peeling yet vivid, their inscriptions still legible after 1,000 years. The tragedy isn't just that Ani fell, it's that its remains are now caught in a battle against time and neglect. Looters have chipped away at its artifacts, erosion gnaws at its foundations, and political tensions between Turkey and Armenia complicate preservation efforts. Some restoration work has begun, like the stabilization of the city walls, but much more hangs in the balance. Ani isn't just a relic, it's a bridge between civilizations, a testament to what happens when art, faith, and ambition converge. And if its walls could talk, they'd remind us that even the greatest cities are never truly lost, just waiting for someone to listen. The desert has a way of swallowing stories whole, but none have burned brighter in the imagination than the legend of Iram, the so-called Atlantis of the sands. Unlike cities lost to time or disaster, Iram's tale is woven into scripture itself. The Quran describes it as a place of towering pillars, a kingdom so wealthy and arrogant that its people defied divine warnings. Their punishment, a savage windstorm that buried the city beneath the dunes, leaving no trace but whispers. For over 1,000 years, scholars debated whether Iram was parable or history, until a team of archaeologists turned their gaze to the vast, shifting sands of southern Arabia. The search for Iram became a collision of ancient texts and modern technology. In the 1990s, satellite imagery revealed strange, geometric patterns in Oman's Rub al Khali Desert, the fabled empty quarter, one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. Ground expeditions followed, uncovering remnants of a sprawling settlement, fortified walls, pottery shards, and even an ancient well, the most compelling evidence. Inscriptions referencing Iram found at nearby sites, aligning with descriptions of a powerful trading hub that flourished around 3,000 years ago. This wasn't just a village, it was a nexus for frankincense routes where caravans carried the precious resin to temples and palaces across the ancient world. Yet the mystery of Iram's fate lingers. Some researchers point to climate change, a prolonged drought that turned fertile lands to dust, while others cite seismic activity, suggesting an earthquake toppled its pillars before the sands consumed them. Local Bedouin legends speak of a cursed city, its ruins hidden beneath dunes that shift like living things, revealing and concealing fragments at whim. The truth may lie somewhere between myth and geology. Recent studies of the region's paleoclimate reveal that the Rub al Khali wasn't always a wasteland. It once held lakes and grasslands capable of sustaining grand settlements. What makes Iram so haunting isn't just its disappearance, but its legacy. The city's story echoes in literature, from 1001 Nights to modern novels, a cautionary tale about hubris and impermanence. Every artifact pulled from the sand, a broken pillar, a corroded coin, feels like a whisper from a civilization that dared to reach too high, and perhaps that's why the search continues. Iram isn't just a lost city, it's a mirror reflecting our own fascination with the rise and fall of greatness. If the desert ever yields its secrets, will we find ruins or something far more profound? The sands, as always, keep their silence. Long before Rome stamped its might across the Mediterranean, another city dominated the waves: Carthage. Founded by Phoenician traders from Tyre around the 9th century BCE, this North African powerhouse wasn't just a settlement, it was a masterpiece of maritime ambition. Picture a glittering harbor, its circular inner basin lined with ship sheds capable of holding hundreds of warships, its towers bristling with watchmen scanning the horizon. Carthage didn't just trade, it commanded the sea lanes, its merchants carrying purple dye, silver, and African ivory to every corner of the ancient world. But Carthage's story is etched in conflict. Its rivalry with Rome wasn't just about territory, it was a clash of civilizations, a struggle for survival that would span over a century. The Punic Wars, as they came to be known, were unlike anything the ancient world had seen. Hannibal's daring march across the Alps with war elephants, the naval battles where Carthage's nimble quinquiremes outmaneuvered Roman galleys. These weren't just battles, they were spectacles of strategy and desperation. And yet, for all its ingenuity, Carthage faced annihilation. In 146 BC, after a grueling 3-year siege, Roman legions broke through its walls. The city burned for 17 days, survivors were sold into slavery, the earth was salted to poison the soil, and Rome declared Carthage erased from history. But history has a way of resisting erasure. Modern excavations have peeled back the layers of propaganda to reveal a city far more complex than Rome's wicked rival. Archaeologists working near present-day Tunis have uncovered the remnants of Carthage's vast necropolises, where intricate grave goods whisper of a society deeply spiritual and cosmopolitan. The Tophet, a sanctuary once mischaracterized as a site of child sacrifice, now reveals a more nuanced truth, a sacred space where families honored their ancestors and gods through ritual offerings. Perhaps most astonishing are the underwater discoveries. Sonar scans of Carthage's ancient harbors show engineering so precise it rivals Rome's later achievements. The city's grid-patterned streets, its sprawling villas with mosaic floors depicting sea monsters and gods, all speak of a culture that blended Phoenician tradition with African and Greek influences. Even its agricultural legacy endures. The sprawling Carthaginian gardens that once fed the city were so advanced Roman agronomists later copied their techniques. Yet the greatest mystery isn't how Carthage fell, but how much of its spirit survived. Some scholars argue its maritime laws influenced medieval Mediterranean trade, while others trace the roots of North African urbanism back to its blueprint. The Romans may have tried to wipe Carthage from the map, but its echoes linger in the ruins beneath Tunis, in the DNA of coastal towns, even in the audacious spirit of explorers who refuse to let the past stay buried. Carthage isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a testament to the indelible mark a city can leave long after its ashes cool. Long before Columbus set sail across the Atlantic, Norse explorers were carving their names into the shores of North America, not as myth but as history. The sagas speak of a place they called Vinland, a land of wild grapes and sprawling meadows where Viking ships dropped anchor around the year 1000. For centuries, scholars debated whether these tales were mere legend until a bold discovery in the 1960s rewrote the story. Elands Ox Meadows, a windswept stretch of Newfoundland's northern coast, didn't look like much at first glance. But when Norwegian explorer Helge Ingstad and his archaeologist wife Anne Stein arrived with a hunch, they uncovered something extraordinary: the unmistakable outlines of Norse-style turf houses, a smithy littered with iron nails, and even a bronze cloak pin. This wasn't just evidence of a fleeting visit, it was proof of a settlement, the first confirmed Viking site in North America. The sagas had been right all along. Yet Vinland's full story remains tantalizingly out of reach. Elands Ox Meadows was likely a base camp, not the lush land of vines described in the sagas. So where was the real Vinland? Some researchers point south to New Brunswick or even Massachusetts, where wild grapes grow in abundance. Others scour the coastline for hints of other Norse sites, from mysterious stone structures in Maine to potential Viking artifacts scattered along eastern shores. The sagas themselves offer cryptic clues. They speak of encounters with indigenous peoples the Norse called Skraelings, possibly the Micmac or Beothuk, and describe violent clashes that may have driven the settlers away. But they also mention trade, curiosity, even fleeting moments of cooperation. Could Vinland have been more than a failed colony? Could it have been the beginning of a transatlantic connection that flickered out too soon? Modern technology is breathing new life into the search. Ground-penetrating radar and isotope analysis of artifacts are opening fresh leads, while indigenous oral histories add layers to the narrative. Every rusted nail, every fire-cracked stone is a puzzle piece in a story we're still learning to read. Vinland wasn't just a footnote in the Viking Age, it was a bold leap into the unknown, a chapter of exploration that's still being written today. And somewhere, beneath the soil or hidden in the sagas, the rest of its secrets wait. Rising like a ghost from the turquoise waters of Micronesia, the ruins of Nan Madol cling to a coral reef between the main island of Pohnpei and the open Pacific. This isn't just another abandoned settlement, it's a labyrinth of 92 artificial islands, each one built painstakingly from hexagonal basalt logs and coral rubble, all interconnected by a network of canals so precise they've earned the site the nickname Venice of the Pacific. But who constructed this watery marvel, and why? The answer lies shrouded in legend and whispered through generations of Pohnpeian oral history. According to local lore, Nan Madol was the work of twin sorcerers, Olasipa and Olasopa, who sailed from a distant land with magic strong enough to levitate the massive basalt stones into place. These brothers, the story goes, sought to build a ceremonial center for the worship of the god of agriculture, and their supernatural prowess allowed them to complete what would have been an impossible feat of engineering. Modern archaeology offers a more grounded but no less astonishing explanation. The city's construction likely began around 1200 CE, with stones transported from quarries across the island using a combination of rafts, ropes, and sheer human labor. The basalt logs, some weighing up to 50 tons, were stacked like Lincoln logs to form towering walls that still defied tropical storms centuries later. Nan Madol's purpose remains as enigmatic as its construction. Some researchers believe it was the political and spiritual heart of the Sordalor dynasty, a ruling class that held sway over Pohnpei for centuries. The largest island, Nandowas, houses a royal tomb complex with walls 25 feet high, suggesting this was a place of power and ritual. Others point to the city's intricate tidal canals, theorizing they weren't just for transport but served as fish farms or even ceremonial pathways for sacred processions. Then there are the darker legends tales of a tyrannical ruler who met his end in a bloody uprising, or whispers that the city's very foundations are cursed. To this day, some Pohnpeians avoid the ruins at night, speaking of strange lights and disembodied voices echoing across the water. Studying Nan Madol is a challenge as formidable as the city itself. The site's remote location and treacherous tides make access difficult, while the dense mangrove forests that have encroached on the canals hide structural secrets beneath tangled roots. Saltwater erosion gnaws at the basalt, and looters have pilfered artifacts for decades. Yet despite these obstacles, new discoveries emerge. Recent LiDAR scans revealed submerged structures beyond the known islands, hinting that Nan Madol's reach might be far greater than previously thought. Meanwhile, oral histories passed down by Pohnpeian elders are finally being recorded, offering insights that complement and sometimes contradict archaeological findings. What makes Nan Madol so captivating isn't just its otherworldly appearance or the mystery of its downfall. It's the lingering question of how a society without metal tools or written language engineered a city that modern builders would struggle to replicate. Every moss-covered stone, every canal choked with silt, is a testament to human ingenuity and a reminder that some histories refuse to be swept away by the tides. The sea came for Helike in the dead of night. One moment, the thriving Greek city stood proud along the Corinthian Gulf, a bustling hub of trade and worship dedicated to Poseidon, god of the sea. The next cataclysm, it was the winter of 373 BC when the earth convulsed without warning. Buildings crumbled like sandcastles, and before survivors could flee, a monstrous wave surged inland, dragging the entire city into the depths. By dawn, nothing remained but a brackish marsh where Helike had once flourished. Ancient writers like Strabo and Pausanias described the disaster in haunting detail, noting how the city's bronze statue of Poseidon was later found tangled in fishermen's nets, its defiant gaze now staring up from the seabed. For centuries, Helike's fate became a cautionary tale, a real-life Atlantis whispered about in the same breath as Plato's legend. The parallels between Helike and Atlantis are uncanny. Both were wealthy coastal cities that angered the gods. Helike by denying a group of refugees from Asia Minor the right to honor their own deity according to myth. Both vanished beneath the waves in a single night of divine retribution. But while Atlantis remained firmly in the realm of allegory, Helike's story was etched in historical records. That's what made its rediscovery so electrifying. In the late 1980s, archaeologists finally pinpointed its location near the modern village of Rizamilos. Using ground-penetrating radar and sediment cores, they uncovered traces of buildings and pottery buried under layers of marine silt, victims of a catastrophic earthquake that liquefied the ground and triggered a tsunami. What makes Helike's rediscovery so revelatory isn't just the confirmation of an ancient tragedy, it's the window it opens into how Greeks understood natural disasters. Unlike Atlantis, which was framed as a moral parable, Helike's destruction was meticulously documented as a geological event. Researchers found evidence of earlier seismic activity in the region, suggesting the city was built on fault lines long prone to violence. The ruins themselves tell a story of sudden collapse, walls pancaked onto floors, artifacts frozen in moments of daily life. A set of coins dated precisely to 373 BC offers grim confirmation of the timeline. Modern science has peeled back even more layers. Core samples reveal a seismic horizon of disturbed sediment matching descriptions of the disaster, while isotopic analysis of nearby coastal formations shows sudden influxes of saltwater hallmarks of a tsunami. These findings don't just corroborate ancient texts, they highlight how vulnerable Mediterranean societies were to nature's whims. Helik's fate echoes in later tragedies like the eruption of Pompeii or the Lisbon earthquake, reminding us that the line between bustling metropolis and archaeological ruin can vanish in an instant. Perhaps most haunting is the legacy Helik left behind. Its destruction was so traumatic that neighboring cities minted coins depicting Poseidon's wrath, as if trying to make sense of the incomprehensible. The site itself became a place of pilgrimage, where visitors would throw offerings into the water to appease the god who had swallowed a city whole. Today, as climate change raises sea levels and seismologists warn of overdue megathrust quakes in the region, Helik's story feels eerily prescient. The ruins aren't just a relic, they're a mirror, reflecting our own fragile relationship with the forces that shape our world. And somewhere beneath the silt, the stones of Helik still whisper their warning. Buried beneath the sands of modern-day Pakistan lies a metropolis so advanced, it rivals the ingenuity of cities thousands of years younger, Mohenjo-Daro, the Mound of the Dead. Built around 2600 BC, this sprawling urban center was the crown jewel of the Indus Valley civilization, a society that flourished centuries before the pyramids of Egypt or the palaces of Mesopotamia. Walking its grid-patterned streets, you'd encounter a level of sophistication that defies its age. Houses with brick-lined drainage systems, public wells supplying fresh water, and even early forms of air conditioning through cleverly designed wind catchers. This wasn't just a settlement, it was a marvel of prehistoric engineering, a testament to a people who mastered urban living long before the modern world took shape. What makes Mohenjo-Daro truly astonishing isn't just its scale, spanning over 300 hectares, but the uniformity of its design. Unlike later cities that grew haphazardly, Mohenjo-Daro was meticulously planned with standardized brick sizes and streets aligned to cardinal directions. The Great Bath, a massive public pool lined with waterproof bitumen, suggests ritualistic or social functions we can only guess at. Then there's the mystery of the dancing girl, a bronze figurine so lifelike in its pose and expression that it seems to bridge the millennia, offering a fleeting glimpse into the artistry of its creators. Yet for all these discoveries, the city guards its secrets fiercely. No grand temples or palaces have been found, no evidence of kings or warlords. Instead, Mohenjo-Daro hints at a society that valued equality and collective welfare, a radical departure from the hierarchical norms of its time. The silence surrounding its decline is equally haunting. By 1900 BC, the city was abandoned, its bustling streets left to the encroaching silt of the Indus River. Theories swirl like the desert winds. Was it climate change that dried up its lifeblood, the river shifting course and leaving fields barren? Or did invading forces, hinted at by scattered skeletons with signs of violent trauma, bring about its downfall? Some researchers point to geological evidence of catastrophic flooding, while others speculate about disease or economic collapse. The absence of definitive answers only deepens the enigma. Unlike Pompeii, frozen in a single moment, Mohenjo-Daro's end was slow, deliberate, as if its people simply walked away, leaving behind a blueprint for a civilization we're still struggling to decipher. Perhaps the most tantalizing question isn't how Mohenjo-Daro fell, but what it might still teach us. Its sewage systems rivaled those of 19th century London. Its urban planning principles echo in modern eco-cities, and its artifacts suggest trade networks stretching from the Persian Gulf to the Himalayas. Yet its script remains undeciphered, its language lost to time. Every unearthed pottery shard, every seal carved with enigmatic symbols, is a piece of a puzzle we've yet to solve. Mohenjo-Daro isn't just a relic, it's a mirror reflecting the fragility and brilliance of human achievement. And somewhere in its silent streets, the echoes of a forgotten world still whisper, waiting for us to listen. High in the mist-shrouded mountains of Colombia's Sierra Nevada, where the jungle clings to steep slopes and howler monkeys fill the air with their haunting cries, lies a secret that was nearly lost forever: La Ciudad Perdida, the lost city. Unlike ancient ruins swallowed by desert or sea, this place was hidden by something far more relentless: the green embrace of the rainforest. For centuries, the only people who knew of its existence were the indigenous Kogi, descendants of the Tairona civilization that built it, who guarded its memory as sacred. Then, in the 1970s, a group of treasure hunters stumbled upon moss-covered stone steps leading into the clouds, and one of South America's most astonishing archaeological finds came to light. La Ciudad Perdida isn't just a collection of ruins, it's a mountaintop masterpiece. Built by the Tairona people around 800 years ago, the city sprawls across terraces carved into the hillside, connected by a network of stone pathways and staircases that zigzag through the jungle. At its heart lies the ceremonial center, a ring of circular plazas where rituals once echoed against the backdrop of towering peaks. The Tairona were master engineers, constructing their city to harness mountain springs with intricate channels that still funnel water today. But what's truly remarkable is how little their descendants have changed. The Kogi, who call the city Tiuna, believe it's the heart of the world, a place where spiritual and physical realms meet. To them, the terraces aren't just archaeological features, they're living reminders of a covenant with nature, a balance modern society has forgotten. Reaching La Ciudad Perdida is a pilgrimage in every sense. There are no roads, no cable cars, just a grueling multi-day trek through slippery river valleys and sweltering jungle, a journey that mirrors the Tairona's own challenges. Hikers cross rickety wooden bridges, wade through chest-high streams, and climb over 1,000 stone steps worn smooth by time. But the effort is its own reward. Emerging onto the sunlit terraces with panoramic views of the forest canopy stretching to the Caribbean feels like stepping into another world. The air hums with the energy of a place that was never truly lost, just waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Yet the city's rediscovery hasn't been without controversy. Looters initially ransacked the site, scattering gold figurines and pottery across the black market. Later, armed conflict in the region made it inaccessible for years. Today, controlled tourism funds conservation efforts, but challenges remain balancing preservation with accessibility, respecting Kogi beliefs while satisfying curiosity. Archaeologists continue to uncover new sections of the city, each discovery adding to our understanding of the Tairona's sophisticated society. But perhaps the greatest lesson of La Ciudad Perdida isn't about the past, it's about endurance. The stones have survived conquest, jungle, and time itself, a testament to the ingenuity of those who carved them, and a whisper that some treasures aren't meant to stay hidden forever. The first glimpse of Petra hits like a mirage, a city of rose-red stone, not built but carved. Imagine approaching through the narrow Sick, a winding sandstone canyon where towering walls seem to glow from within as sunlight dances across their surface. Then, suddenly, the passage opens, revealing Al-Khosne, the treasury, its ornate facade standing 2 stories tall, every column and statue chiseled directly into the cliff face. This isn't just architecture, it's alchemy, transforming solid rock into a masterpiece. Petra wasn't just a city, it was the beating heart of the Nabatean kingdom, a civilization that turned barren desert into a crossroads of empires. From the 4th century BC to the 1st century CE, its strategic location along trade routes linking Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean made it unimaginably wealthy. Frankincense and myrrh from southern Arabia, spices from India, silks from China all flowed through Petra's markets, taxed by Nabatean merchants who mastered the art of desert survival. They built ingenious water channels to harness scarce rainfall, creating an oasis in the wilderness. The city's very existence was a defiance of nature, a testament to human ingenuity in the harshest of landscapes. Yet Petra's golden age was fleeting. The Roman annexation in 106 CE shifted trade routes to the sea, and a devastating earthquake in 363 CE shattered its infrastructure. Slowly, the city emptied, its grand tombs and temples left to the wind and the whispers of Bedouin tribes. By the Middle Ages, Petra had faded into legend, known only to locals until Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt disguised himself as a pilgrim in 1812 and rediscovered it for the Western world. Today, archaeologists are peeling back Petra's layers with laser precision. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed entire neighborhoods buried beneath the sand, while drone surveys map previously inaccessible cliffs. One recent discovery, a massive ceremonial platform hidden in plain sight, suggesting Petra's religious significance was even greater than realized, but the work isn't just about the past. Conservationists race against erosion, vandalism, and the wear of millions of footsteps, using everything from 3D modeling to traditional stonecraft to preserve what time threatens to erase. What lingers most isn't just the scale of Petra's ruins, but the questions they provoke. Why did the Nabateans choose such a laborious method of carving rather than building? Some scholars believe the act of sculpting stone was spiritual, a literal communion with the earth. Others point to practicalities. Rock-cut structures withstand earthquakes better than freestanding ones. Then there's the mystery of the Nabateans themselves, a people who left few written records but whose influence stretched across continents. Every scrape of a trowel, every scan of a drone, brings us closer to understanding how a nomadic tribe transformed a desert gorge into one of antiquity's most dazzling cities, and why, even in silence, its stones still speak. Off the coast of Japan's westernmost island, Yonaguni, lies one of the ocean's most baffling mysteries, a sprawling underwater complex of terraces, steps, and towering monoliths that some believe could rewrite human history. Known as the Yonaguni Monument, this massive structure lies just 80 feet beneath the waves, its sharp angles and seemingly deliberate formations sparking fierce debate among scientists, archaeologists, and conspiracy theorists alike. Is it the remnants of an ancient civilization swallowed by the sea, or simply a quirk of geology shaped by millennia of relentless currents? The discovery dates back to 1986, when local diver Chihiro Aratake stumbled upon the site while searching for new dive spots. What he found defied expectation: a series of flat, parallel platforms resembling a stepped pyramid, complete with what looked like carved passageways and even a massive stone face. The most striking feature is the monument's central terrace, a rectangular formation measuring nearly 500 feet long and 130 feet wide, with near-perfect 90-degree angles that seem too precise to be natural. Nearby, a pair of towering pillars appear to frame a ceremonial entrance, while a looping road-like structure winds around the formation like a processional path. Even the skeptics admit it looks engineered, but looks can deceive. Geologists argue that the Yonaguni Monument could be an extraordinary example of sandstone weathering, where seismic activity and tidal erosion sculpted the rock into seemingly artificial shapes. They point to similar formations above water on Okinawa's coast, where natural forces have created angular cliffs and stepped platforms. The region sits atop active fault lines, and the constant grinding of tectonic plates could explain the monument's uncanny geometry. Marine biologist Masaki Kimura, however, has spent decades cataloging features he insists are unmistakably man-made. Tool marks on stone, what appear to be quarrying holes, even a star-shaped basin that aligns with solstice events. His most controversial claim, that the site could be part of the lost continent of Mu, a Pacific equivalent of Atlantis mentioned in 19th century pseudoscience. Dating the monument only deepens the enigma. If human hands did carve these structures, when could it have happened? Yonaguni was last above sea level around 10,000 years ago during the last ice age, when ocean levels were nearly 400 feet lower. That timeline would place its construction in the prehistoric Jomon period, a time when Japan's inhabitants were hunter-gatherers, not known for monumental architecture. Yet tantalizing clues surface elsewhere. Nearby underwater ruins at Okinawa's Kurama Islands show similar formations, and legends from the Ryukyu people speak of gods who submerged entire cities as punishment. Could these myths preserve a grain of truth? The debate may hinge on a single, unanswerable question. Where's the artifacts? Unlike other submerged sites like Heracleion or Dwarka, no pottery, tools, or human remains have been found at Yonaguni. Without these, the man-made theory rests on aesthetics alone. Still, the monument's allure persists, drawing divers and researchers into its shadowy depths. Recent sonar mapping reveals even more structures further out to sea, hinting at a potential network waiting to be explored. Whether natural wonder or sunken citadel, Yonaguni stands as a reminder that the ocean keeps its secrets well, and that sometimes the line between geology and history is as fluid as the water itself. Perhaps the most mesmerizing aspect of Yonaguni isn't just what it is, but how it challenges us. It forces us to reconsider what ancient societies might have been capable of, and how much of our past remains hidden beneath the waves. Every dive into its misty blue depths feels like a step into the unknown, where every rock formation could be a clue, or just a trick of the light, and that uncertainty. That's where the magic lies. Hidden beneath the shifting sands of northern Algeria, the ruins of Timgad stand as a frozen moment in Rome's imperial glory. Founded by Emperor Trajan in around 100 CE, this wasn't just another military outpost, it was a masterclass in Roman urban design. A planned city so meticulously organized, its grid layout could rival modern metropolises. Picture wide, straight avenues stretching like ruler lines across the landscape, intersecting at perfect right angles to form neat city blocks. Every street was calculated, every building placed with purpose, from the grand public baths to the intimate theaters. Timgad wasn't just built, it was engineered, a testament to Rome's belief in order as the foundation of civilization. What makes Timgad truly extraordinary is how untouched it remains. Unlike many Roman cities buried beneath later settlements, the sands preserved it almost exactly as it was abandoned. Walk its streets today, and you'll see the grooves of chariot wheels still etched into the stone roads, the outlines of shops and homes still clearly defined. The city's centerpiece, the Arch of Trajan, rises nearly 40 feet high, its intricate carvings celebrating the emperor's military victories. Nearby, the amphitheater's tiered seating could hold up to 3,000 spectators, a staggering number for a city initially meant to house retired soldiers. But Timgad's real revelation lies in the details. Look closer at those perfectly aligned streets, and you'll notice something revolutionary for its time. Underground sewage channels, part of an advanced drainage system that kept the city clean and functional. Residential districts were carefully zoned, with wealthier homes boasting private courtyards and intricate mosaics, while simpler dwellings clustered together in neat rows. The public library, one of the few surviving from antiquity, hints at a society that valued knowledge as much as conquest, yet for all its planning, Timgad couldn't outrun history. As the Roman Empire frayed, so did the city's fortunes. Berber raids, economic decline, and finally the Arab conquest in the 7th century left it empty, its orderly streets surrendering to the desert. Rediscovered in the 18th century, Timgad's ruins now offer archaeologists a rare window into daily Roman life far from the empire's heart. Every stone here whispers of efficiency, ambition, and the quiet beauty of a system where every citizen and every brick had its place. Perched atop a 200-meter-high rock in the heart of Sri Lanka, Sigiriya rises like a mirage, part fortress, part palace, part canvas of ancient artistry. This isn't just a ruin, it's a statement carved into stone, a testament to one king's ambition and paranoia. Built in the 5th century by King Kasyapa, Sigiriya was designed to be both an impregnable stronghold and a celestial paradise. To reach its summit, visitors climb a vertigo-inducing staircase clinging to the rock face, passing what might be the world's oldest surviving gallery, a series of vibrant frescoes depicting ethereal women, their colors still strikingly vivid after 1,500 years. These Sigiriya maidens float against the stone, their identities debated for centuries. Are they celestial nymphs, royal concubines, or portraits of Kasyapa's court? Their enigmatic smiles offer no answers, only adding to the site's mystique. But the art is just the beginning. Sigiriya's true genius lies in its engineering. Halfway up the rock, visitors encounter the famed mirror wall, once polished so meticulously that Kasyapa could see his reflection in it. Centuries of graffiti, poems and musings from pilgrims and travelers etch its surface, creating a layered tapestry of human voices across time. Higher still, the summit unfolds into the ruins of the palace complex, where the king's throne room, swimming pools, and gardens defied gravity. The ingenuity of Sigiriya's water systems is staggering. Hydraulic networks channeled rainwater into reservoirs carved from the rock, sustaining the palace even during droughts. Below the summit, the landscaped gardens are a marvel of ancient urban planning. Divided into water gardens, boulder gardens, and terraced gardens, they blend nature and artifice with breathtaking harmony. Symmetrical ponds fed by underground conduits sit beside natural rock formations incorporated into the design, proving Kasyapa's builders worked with the land, not against it. These gardens weren't mere decoration, they were a display of dominance over nature, a theme echoed in Sigiriya's very existence. Legends shroud Kasyapa's reign like the mists that often veil the rock. Fearing retaliation for usurping the throne by allegedly entombing his father alive, he sought refuge in this aerial citadel. His paranoia proved prophetic. His half-brother Moggallana eventually returned with an army, and Kasyapa, facing defeat, chose to fall on his sword rather than surrender. The fortress was later abandoned, reclaimed by monks and then the jungle, until British archaeologists rediscovered it in the 19th century. Today, Sigiriya is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, its allure undimmed. Thousands of visitors ascend its steps daily, drawn by its blend of history, art, and sheer audacity. The site's preservation is a delicate dance. Foot traffic erodes ancient pathways while humidity threatens the frescoes. Yet Sri Lanka has masterfully balanced accessibility with conservation, ensuring Sigiriya remains not just a relic but a living monument to human ambition. Walking its terraces, you can't help but wonder, was Kasyapa a tyrant, a visionary, or both? The rock keeps its secrets, but its legacy soars above the plains, a silent challenge to time itself. Long before the Aztecs named it the City of the Gods, Teotihuacan was already a legend, a sprawling metropolis whose origins were so ancient, even its builders were a mystery. Imagine walking down the Avenue of the Dead, flanked by towering pyramids that cast shadows like giants at dawn. This wasn't just a city, it was the beating heart of Mesoamerica, home to over 100,000 people at its peak between 100 and 500 CE. Yet unlike Rome or Athens, Teotihuacan left no royal tombs, no deciphered texts, no names of kings. Its creators vanished into history, leaving behind only stone whispers and silent monuments. The scale of Teotihuacan's ambition still stuns archaeologists today. The Pyramid of the Sun, its centerpiece, rises 216 feet high, making it one of the largest structures of the ancient world. Built without metal tools or wheeled carts, its millions of tons of volcanic stone were hauled and stacked with precision that defies logic. Nearby, the Pyramid of the Moon frames celestial alignments so exact they mark solstices and equinoxes with razor-sharp accuracy. But the real marvel, the city's layout mirrors the cosmos itself. The Avenue of the Dead aligns with the constellation Pleiades, while the pyramids echo the sacred mountain of creation in Mesoamerican myth. Every stone seems placed by divine calculus, who orchestrated this symphony in stone. The answer remains one of archaeology's greatest riddles. The Aztecs, who stumbled upon the ruins centuries later, believed only gods could have built it. Modern scholars propose Teotihuacan was a melting pot, a multi-ethnic hub where Zapotec, Maya, and other cultures collaborated under a shared vision. Murals depict traders from distant lands, their goods fueling an economy that stretched from the Gulf Coast to the Guatemalan highlands. Yet there's no evidence of a single ruler, no palaces, no grand statues glorifying kings. Instead, the city's art celebrates collective ideals, feathered serpents, storm gods, and jaguars, symbols of balance and renewal. Was Teotihuacan governed by council, by priests, by something we've yet to comprehend? The silence is deafening. Then, around 550 CE, the lights went out. Teotihuacan's collapse was as enigmatic as its rise. The city wasn't just abandoned, it was ritually destroyed. Temples were smashed, statues decapitated, and sacred spaces set ablaze. For decades, experts blamed invasion, pointing to burned buildings and scattered weapons. But newer evidence paints a darker, more complex picture. Soil analyses reveal devastating droughts, while skeletal remains show malnutrition and disease. Could climate change have fractured the social order, triggering rebellion or civil war? Or did the city's own elites clinging to power ignite a fiery purge? The most haunting clue lies in the Ciudad, a sunken plaza where the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl was worshipped. Beneath it, archaeologists found a gruesome offering, the skeletons of 200 warriors, their hands bound, adorned with necklaces of human jawbones. Were they sacrificed to stave off collapse or victims of it? Teotihuacan's end feels like a cautionary tale, a civilization that touched the stars only to crumble under its own weight. Today, as lasers scan undiscovered tunnels beneath the pyramids and chemists analyze trace elements in ancient murals, we're piecing together fragments of a puzzle that refuses to be solved. Teotihuacan's legacy isn't just in its stones, but in the questions it forces us to ask. How does a society thrive without kings? How does it fall without conquerors? And what echoes of its story might still resonate in our own world? The city's true name is lost, but its voice, muted yet insistent, still calls across the centuries. Beneath the blistering sun of Central Asia's Karakum Desert, where the sands whisper of empires long gone, rise the haunting ruins of Merv, once the jewel of the Silk Road. This wasn't just another trading post, it was a metropolis so wealthy, so culturally vibrant that medieval travelers called it the mother of the world. Picture a city where Persian poets rubbed shoulders with Chinese merchants, where Zoroastrian fire temples stood beside bustling Buddhist monasteries, and where the streets hummed with languages from every corner of the known world. Merv wasn't just a stop along the Silk Road, it was its beating heart, a place where goods, ideas, and faiths collided and transformed history. At its zenith in the 12th century, Merv sprawled across thousands of hectares, its population swelling to nearly 500,000, making it one of the largest cities on Earth. The Great Kizkala, a towering fortified mansion with undulating mud brick walls, stood as a testament to architectural ingenuity, while the Sultan Sanjar Mausoleum soared above the skyline, its turquoise dome a beacon for travelers crossing the desert. The city's water system, an engineering marvel, channeled the Murghab River through a network of canals, turning the arid landscape into a fertile oasis. Merv wasn't just surviving in the desert, it was thriving, a testament to human adaptability. Yet prosperity can be a fragile thing. In 1221, the Mongols, led by Genghis Khan's son Tolui, arrived at Merv's gates. What followed was one of the darkest chapters in the city's history. After a brief siege, the Mongols unleashed a massacre so thorough that contemporary chroniclers claimed only a handful of survivors remain. Buildings were razed, libraries burned, and the canals, the lifeblood of the city, were deliberately destroyed. The mother of the world was left to wither, its grandeur reduced to rubble and memory. But Merv refused to disappear entirely. Over the centuries, its ruins became a ghostly palimpsest, with later settlers building atop the ancient foundations. The site's layered history, from Achaemenid outpost to Seljuk capital, offers archaeologists a rare cross-section of Central Asian civilization. Today, efforts to preserve Merv are as complex as its past. Teams battle against the desert's relentless encroachment, stabilizing fragile mud brick structures and documenting intricate tile work before it crumbles. UNESCO designation as a World Heritage Site has brought renewed attention, but challenges remain. Looters target unguarded artifacts, and climate change threatens to accelerate erosion. Walking through Merv now, you tread on stones that once echoed with the footsteps of scholars, soldiers, and silk traders. The wind carries traces of their stories, the clink of coins in a market, the chant of a monk's prayer, the terrible silence after the Mongols departed. Merv's legacy isn't just in its ruins, it's in the indelible mark it left on the world. From here, mathematics and astronomy spread to Baghdad and beyond. Here, cultures fused in ways that still resonate across continents. The city may have fallen, but its echoes endure, a reminder that even the mightiest empires are made of more than stone. They're woven into the fabric of human connection. And in those threads, Merv is never truly lost. Rising from the Syrian desert like a mirage, Palmyra was once a shimmering crossroads of empires, a place where Roman grandeur met Persian opulence under the relentless sun. This wasn't just a trading post, it was a cultural alchemy. Caravans lumbering along the Silk Road would pause here, their camels laden with silks from China, spices from India, and glass from Rome, while merchants haggled in the shadow of colonnaded streets lined with temples to both Greek gods and Semitic deities. The city's very architecture whispered of its hybrid soul. Soaring Roman arches adorned with intricate Eastern carvings, and tombs that blended Hellenistic elegance with Mesopotamian symbolism. Palmyra didn't just bridge worlds, it redefined what a city could be when cultures collided rather than clashed. Then came the unthinkable. In 2015, as conflict ravaged Syria, Palmyra fell into the hands of extremists who saw its history as heresy. The Temple of Bel, a masterpiece of ancient engineering that had stood for nearly 2,000 years, was reduced to rubble by explosives. The Arch of Triumph, a symbol of the city's resilience, was deliberately targeted and shattered. Statues from the Palmyran Museum were methodically smashed, their faces obliterated as if erasing the city's very identity. For centuries, Palmyra had survived earthquakes and invasions. Now, it faced annihilation not by nature's whim, but by human hands wielding ideology like a weapon. Yet, even in devastation, Palmyra refused to vanish. Archaeologists and locals risked everything to document and hide artifacts before the destruction reached them. One curator, Khalid al-Assad, paid with his life after refusing to reveal the location of hidden treasures, a grim testament to how fiercely some fought to preserve the past. When the city was finally liberated, the world gasped at the scars, but amidst the debris, something remarkable began, a global effort to resurrect what was lost. Using 3D scanning technology, teams from across Europe and the Middle East pieced together digital models of the ruins, creating blueprints for reconstruction. Local stonemasons trained in ancient techniques carefully sorted through rubble to salvage original stones. Even the smallest fragments mattered. A single carved rose leaf could help recreate an entire frieze. The challenge isn't just physical, it's philosophical. Should Palmyra be rebuilt exactly as it was, or should the damage remain visible as a testament to its suffering? Some argue restoration erases history's harsh lessons, while others insist it denies extremists their victory. perhaps the answer lies in Palmyra's own legacy of fusion. Just as it once blended Roman and Persian influences, maybe its rebirth can balance memory and renewal, leaving some wounds unhealed while stitching others back together. Walking through Palmyra today, you'll find shadows and light in equal measure. The early morning sun still gilds the columns of the partially restored Grand Colonnade, just as it did when Queen Zenobia ruled here, defying Rome itself. Children play near the ruins, their laughter bouncing off stones that have borne witness to both greatness and grief. Palmyra's story isn't just about loss, it's about defiance. A city that refused to let the desert bury it 2,000 years ago won't let bombs silence it now. And with every stone reset, every fresco painstakingly reassembled, the world is reminded some cities aren't just made of marble and mortar. They're made of the stubborn will to endure. Deep in the burning expanse of the Kalahari Desert, where the horizon shimmers like a mirage, stories whisper of a city swallowed by sand, a place the local sand people call Kalahari's hidden city. For generations, tales have described towering stone walls half buried in the dunes, a metropolis of unknown origin that appears and vanishes like a desert ghost. European explorers in the 19th century latched onto these legends, some claiming to have glimpsed its ruins under the right light, others returning empty-handed after months of treacherous searching. But what makes this lost city so tantalizing isn't just its elusiveness, it's the possibility that it might not be a city at all. The most famous search began in 1885, when a Canadian adventurer named Guillermo Farini embarked on an expedition fueled by local rumors. After weeks of scouring the desert, Farini reported finding strange, ancient ruins near the Irk River, massive stone blocks arranged in semicircles, platforms that seemed carved by human hands, and even what he described as a crumbling idol. He sketched his discoveries and published sensational accounts, sparking a wave of interest. But when others retraced his steps, they found only natural rock formations, wind-sculpted outcrops that, under the right angle, might resemble architecture. Was Farini a victim of wishful thinking, or had the desert reclaimed the ruins once more? Modern archaeologists approach the mystery with cautious curiosity. Some suggest the legends could stem from misinterpreted geological features like the Tsadillo Hills, a UNESCO site sacred to the San, whose caves hold rock art dating back thousands of years. Others propose a different theory, that Kalahari's hidden city might be a fragmented memory of Great Zimbabwe or Mapungubwe, real African cities whose stone ruins impressed travelers and spawned distant rumors. Yet the persistence of the stories is hard to ignore. The San's oral histories speak of a place called /Karoga, a once great settlement abandoned when the waters vanished. Could this be a cultural echo of a real nomadic hub now lost to drought? Technology has reignited the hunt. Satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar have scanned vast stretches of the Kalahari, revealing buried riverbeds and ancient lakebeds that hint at a greener past. If a settlement existed here, it would have flourished during one of the region's wet periods, perhaps alongside the medieval trading networks that linked southern Africa. But the desert guards its secrets fiercely. Shifting sands erase trails overnight, and scorching winds warp perception. The truth of Kalahari's hidden city may lie somewhere between myth and geology. Whether it's an actual ruin waiting to be uncovered, a collective mirage born from the desert's illusions, or a metaphor for the fragility of human presence in such a harsh landscape, its legacy endures. Every cracked stone or oddly shaped dune keeps the question alive. Are we chasing a city or the idea of one? In the Kalahari, the line between the two is as thin as the horizon at midday. Beneath the crystal-clear waters of southern Greece's Vatica Bay, where sunlight dances over sandy seabeds, lies a secret older than the pyramids' Pavloptri, the world's oldest submerged city. Dating back over 5,000 years to the Bronze Age, This ghostly metropolis wasn't drowned by some cataclysmic event, but slowly claimed by rising seas, its streets and homes slipping beneath the waves with an almost eerie gentleness. Discovered in 1967 by oceanographer Nicholas Fleming, Pavloptre isn't just a collection of scattered ruins, it's an astonishingly preserved time capsule, its grid-like streets and two-story buildings still visible as if sketched onto the ocean floor by some ancient hand. What makes Pavloptre so extraordinary isn't just its age, but its clarity. Unlike other underwater cities choked by silt or coral, its layout remains strikingly intact. Archaeologists have mapped a fully functioning urban center, a central plaza, ceremonial spaces, even a complex water management system with channels designed to control runoff. The city's 37-acre footprint reveals a thriving hub of maritime trade, with pottery fragments from as far away as Crete and Cyprus hinting at a network that stretched across the Mediterranean. This wasn't an isolated village, it was a cosmopolitan port where merchants bartered goods, ideas, and technologies, proving that globalization isn't a modern invention. But the real magic of Pavloptre lies in the mundane details preserved by the sea. Stone slabs with carved indentations suggest olive oil production on an industrial scale, while loom weights scattered in what were once courtyards whisper of bustling textile workshops. A single child's footprint, fossilized in clay, offers a heartbreakingly human glimpse into daily life. Unlike grandiose monuments, these fragments tell the story of ordinary people, fishermen mending nets, traders haggling over amphorae of wine, families gathering in courtyards shaded by grapevines. The city's slow submersion, likely due to gradual sea level rise combined with tectonic activity around 1000 BCE, inadvertently created a perfect archaeological snapshot. Without the disturbance of later settlements or the destruction of war, Pavloptre's remains are frozen in their final moments. Underwater surveys have even revealed undisturbed graves, their contents offering clues to burial rituals and social hierarchies. One particularly poignant find, a group of small, carefully arranged stones marking what might be a child's grave, a silent testament to love and loss across millennia. Yet mysteries linger. Who ruled Pavloptre? No grand palace or temple complex has been found, suggesting a surprisingly egalitarian society. And why, despite its strategic location, does it vanish from historical records after its decline? Some scholars speculate it was eclipsed by nearby Sparta's rise, its memory fading like footprints in wet sand. Others wonder if its fate holds warnings for modern coastal cities facing rising seas today. Exploring Pavloptre is like stepping into a dream. Divers glide over streets where chariots once rolled, passing doorways that haven't swung open in 30 centuries. The water, filtering sunlight into liquid gold, transforms archaeology into something almost sacred. Every measured sketch by marine archaeologists, every 3D scan captured by underwater drones, peels back another layer of this submerged symphony in stone. Pavloptre doesn't just rewrite our understanding of the Bronze Age, it reminds us that the past isn't always buried. Sometimes it's waiting just beneath the surface, restless as the tide. On the sun-baked coast of Libya, where the Mediterranean meets the Sahara, the ruins of Leptis Magna rise like a mirage from Rome's imperial past. This wasn't just another provincial outpost, it was a jewel of the empire, a city so wealthy and influential that its native son, Emperor Septimius Severus, transformed it into a showcase of Roman power. Imagine marble-columned boulevards lined with statues, a theater where crowds roared over gladiatorial combat, and a harbor bristling with ships carrying African grain, ivory, and wild beasts for the games. Leptis Magna was Rome's gateway to Africa, a place where desert caravans met Mediterranean galleys, and the empire's might was carved into every limestone block. The city's golden age under Septimius Severus in the late 2nd century left an indelible mark. the emperor poured fortunes into his hometown, commissioning grand projects like the sprawling Severan Forum, a plaza larger than 2 football fields, flanked by a basilica adorned with intricate reliefs of Hercules and Dionysus. The hunting baths, a private retreat for the elite, still boast vivid frescoes of leopards and antelopes, their colors miraculously preserved by the dry desert air. Even the marketplace, with its perfectly preserved circular kiosks, reveals a level of urban sophistication rivaling Rome itself. Leptis Magna wasn't just mimicking the capital, it was redefining what a provincial city could aspire to be. Yet prosperity sowed the seeds of vulnerability. As Rome's grip on the Mediterranean weakened, Leptis Magna became a target. The Vandals sacked it in the 5th century, followed by Berber raids that left its aqueducts broken and its streets silent. The final blow came not from invaders, but from nature itself. Shifting sands buried the city under dunes, preserving it like a time capsule until its rediscovery in the 19th century. Unlike Pompeii, frozen in a single catastrophic moment, Leptis Magna's decline was slow, a gradual fading of grandeur that makes its ruins feel hauntingly alive. Preserving this legacy today is a race against time and turmoil. Political instability in Libya has left the site vulnerable. Looters have chiseled mosaics from villa floors, and erosion gnaws at exposed masonry. Yet there's hope. Satellite imaging has revealed undiscovered suburbs beneath the sand, while local archaeologists working against the odds document every inscription and artifact before they vanish. The challenge isn't just about conserving stone, it's about safeguarding a crossroads of cultures where Roman engineering met Phoenician craftsmanship and African traditions. Walking through Leptis Magna's ruins today, you can almost hear the echoes of a multilingual marketplace, the creak of chariot wheels on paving stones, the distant roar of the amphitheater crowd. This city wasn't just lost, it was waiting, a testament to how even the mightiest civilizations can slip into shadows, only to re-emerge when the world is ready to listen. And as the Mediterranean sun sets over its arches and colonnades, one thing becomes clear: some cities don't just belong to the past, they're conversations across centuries, daring us to remember. High atop the rocky plateau of modern-day Turkey, where the winds howl through ancient gateways, lie the ruins of Hattusa, once the mighty capital of the Hittite Empire. This wasn't just any city, it was the nerve center of a civilization that rivaled Egypt and Babylon, a sprawling fortress of temples, palaces, and towering walls that whispered of power and mystery. Imagine standing before its colossal stone gates, each flanked by lions or sphinxes, their watchful eyes carved to intimidate any who dared approach uninvited. These walls weren't just defensive, they were a statement proclaiming the might of a people who ruled Anatolia for centuries, only to vanish into the shadows of history. The story of Hattusa's rediscovery reads like an archaeological thriller. In the early 20th century, German archaeologist Hugo Winkler pieced together clues from scattered cuneiform tablets found across the Middle East, many bearing the same phrase, the land of Hatti. Following this trail, he arrived at a remote site locals called Bogaskale, where the ground seemed to cough up fragments of a forgotten world. What Winkler uncovered was staggering: the remnants of a royal archive housing thousands of clay tablets, many written in a language no one could decipher. These weren't just shopping lists or tax records, they were treaties, laws, and even intimate letters between kings. One tablet, addressed to the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II, revealed details of the world's first recorded peace treaty, signed after the epic Battle of Kadesh. Suddenly, the Hittites weren't just footnotes in Egyptian chronicles, they were empire builders in their own right. Deciphering their language was a puzzle that took decades to solve. The breakthrough came when scholars realized Hittite cuneiform wasn't just a variation of Mesopotamian script, it encoded an entirely different language, now recognized as the oldest known Indo-European tongue. Translating these tablets unveiled a society both sophisticated and ruthless. The Hittites were master diplomats, weaving alliances through marriage and treaties, but they were also relentless warriors, their iron weapons giving them a fearsome edge over bronze-clad rivals. Their laws, inscribed meticulously, show a surprising emphasis on restitution over revenge, compensating victims rather than exacting brutal punishments. Yet for all its grandeur, Hattus's fate remains shrouded in mystery. Around 1200 BC, the city was abruptly abandoned, its walls left to crumble. Was it invasion that toppled the Hittite capital, or something more insidious: climate change, internal rebellion, or the mysterious sea peoples who ravaged the Mediterranean? The tablets fall silent on this point, leaving archaeologists to sift through ash layers and collapsed buildings for answers. Today, walking Hattus's ruins feels like stepping into a paused moment. The towering Lion's Gate still watches over empty streets, while the ruins of the great temple, once dedicated to the storm god Teshub, hint at ceremonies long ended. But perhaps the most haunting spot is the underground chamber known as the Green Room, its walls still bearing traces of vivid frescoes. Was this a royal retreat, a sacred space, or something darker? The stones refuse to say. Hattus's legacy isn't just in its stones, but in the echoes of its influence. From ironworking techniques that spread across continents to legal concepts that predate Hammurabi's code, the Hittites shaped the ancient world in ways we're still uncovering. And with every newly translated tablet, every laser-scanned fragment of the city's layout, we're reminded that some empires never truly disappear. They just wait patiently for us to piece their story back together. The vast, sun-baked ruins of Chan Chan sprawl across northern Peru's coastal desert like a labyrinth of dried earth, 10 square miles of adobe walls, etched with intricate designs that whisper of a kingdom lost to time. This was no ordinary city. It was the beating heart of the Chimu Empire, a civilization that thrived between the 9th and 15th centuries, ruling over 1,000 miles of coastline long before the Inca rose to power. Picture towering walls 30 feet high, adorned with geometric patterns and stylized marine creatures: fish, seabirds, waves, each groove telling a story of a people who worshipped the ocean's bounty. Chan Chan wasn't just built, it was sculpted, a metropolis where every brick bore the fingerprint of an artist's hand. At its peak, over 60,000 people called this city home, its streets pulsing with artisans, traders, and fishermen. The Chimu were master hydraulic engineers, channeling scarce river water through an elaborate network of canals to nourish gardens and fill ceremonial reservoirs. Their palaces, hidden behind maze-like walls to deter invaders, boasted courtyards lined with precious metals looted from distant lands, gold and silver for the elite, who believed themselves descendants of the moon. But Chan Chan's true genius lay in its adaptability. The city's adobe bricks, mixed with crushed seashells for durability, kept interiors cool under the scorching sun, while its staggered layout minimized damage from earthquakes. Yet even the mightiest civilizations face reckoning. In the late 15th century, the Inca Emperor Tupac Yupanqui marched his armies into Chan Chan, toppling the Chimu after decades of resistance. The conquerors siphoned off its artisans and treasures, leaving the city to fade into obscurity. But today, a far deadlier threat looms: climate change. Rising temperatures and erratic rainfall, once rare in this desert, now erode the fragile adobe at an alarming rate. El Niño events, growing more frequent and severe, unleash torrential rains that melt walls like sugar. Archaeologists race against time, spraying synthetic resins to harden surfaces or shielding entire sections with temporary roofs. But Chan Chan is crumbling faster than it can be saved. What haunts researchers most isn't just the physical loss, but the stories vanishing with it. The Chimu left no written records. Their history lives in the symbols carved into these walls, a cryptic language of spirals and waves that scholars are still deciphering. Each collapsing mural might hold the key to understanding their rituals, their trade routes, even their downfall. Meanwhile, local descendants of the Chimu fight to preserve their heritage, blending modern techniques with ancestral knowledge. Some revive traditional adobe recipes, while others train as conservators, their hands repairing the same walls their ancestors built. Chan Chan's fate is a mirror held up to our own era. Its ruins remind us that even the grandest cities are temporary, shaped by nature, shattered by conquest, and now threatened by forces their builders never imagined. But in the quiet persistence of its caretakers, there's hope. Every restored motif, every fragment saved from the rain, is a vow that this city of earth and ocean won't vanish without a fight. Along the tranquil waters of the Chao Phraya River in Thailand, where tree roots twist like serpents around weathered stone, the ruins of Ayutthaya rise as haunting echoes of a fallen empire. This was once a city of unimaginable splendor, a bustling capital whose golden spires dazzled traders from Europe to China. Founded in 1350, Ayutthaya grew into one of the world's largest and wealthiest cities by the 17th century, a cosmopolitan hub where Portuguese merchants bartered alongside Persian diplomats and Japanese samurai. Its grand palaces, gilded temples, and floating markets weren't just symbols of power. They were testaments to a kingdom that mastered the art of diplomacy, warfare, and cultural fusion. The city's strategic location on an island at the confluence of three rivers made it a natural fortress until it became a fatal trap. In 1767, Burmese invaders laid siege to Ayutthaya, bombarding its walls for months before finally breaching its defenses. What followed was devastation so complete it stunned even contemporary observers. Temples were looted, libraries burned, and the royal family massacred. The Burmese melted down 90 kilograms of gold from the city's most sacred Buddha statues, leaving behind only hollow shells of bronze. Streets that had echoed with the chants of monks and the clamor of commerce fell eerily silent, the kingdom's archives reduced to ashes. Ayutthaya wasn't just conquered, it was erased, its people scattered, and its memory nearly extinguished. Yet time has a way of softening even the cruelest blows. Today, Ayutthaya's ruins stand as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, their broken stupas and headless Buddha statues cloaked in creeping vines, the most iconic image. A serene stone Buddha head cradled in the roots of a bodhi tree, as if nature itself decided to protect what humanity couldn't. Restoration efforts have stabilized key structures like Wat Phra Si Sanfit, where three towering chedis house the ashes of Ayutthaya's kings, and Wat Mahathat, its crumbling prangs still revealing fragments of stucco reliefs depicting celestial dancers. Modern visitors experience Ayutthaya as both a museum and a pilgrimage. By day, cyclists weave through the park's shaded paths, pausing at sites like the reclaimed Japanese settlement or the Portuguese cannon foundries that hint at the city's global ties. By night, illuminated ruins cast long shadows, their silhouettes a stark reminder of impermanence. Local guides share legends of hidden tunnels where nobles fled the massacre, or of cursed treasures rumored to lurk in the river silt. But Ayutthaya's true legacy isn't just in its stones, it's in the lessons it offers. The city's downfall wasn't just due to Burmese might. Internal strife and over-reliance on outdated defenses left it vulnerable. Its ruins now serve as a cautionary tale about the fragility of even the grandest civilizations. Yet there's also resilience here. The Thai people rebuilt their capital downstream modern Bangkok, carrying forward Ayutthaya's cultural DNA in art, architecture, and spirit. The city may have fallen, but its soul endures, not just in museums, but in the whispered prayers of devotees who still leave offerings at its broken altars, ensuring the past is never truly forgotten. From the underwater ruins of Heracleion to the jungle-shrouded terraces of La Ciudad Perdida, these lost cities remind us how fragile and how extraordinary human achievement can be. They're not just relics of the past, they're fragments of a puzzle, each one offering clues about the people who built them, the societies that thrived within them, and the forces that eventually buried them. Think about it, entire cities once teeming with life, now silent beneath deserts, swallowed by forests or drowned beneath the sea. Some vanished in a single catastrophic night like Heracleion, while others faded slowly, their streets emptying as empires crumbled around them. What's astonishing isn't just their diversity, from the mathematical precision of Teotihuacan's celestial alignment to the free-spirited artistry of Petra's rock-carved facades, but what they reveal about our shared humanity. These were places where people loved, traded, worshipped, and dreamed just as we do today. The same ingenuity that built Chan Chan's adobe masterpieces or Mohenjo-Daro's sewage system still drives us forward. Yet their stories also warn us, no civilization, no matter how grand, is immune to collapse. Whether it's climate change, war, or the slow erosion of time, these cities teach us that resilience is as vital as innovation. And here's the thrilling part, we've only scratched the surface. For every lost city found, there are countless others still waiting, their names whispered in myths or buried in overlooked texts. Could the golden streets of El Dorado still lie hidden in the Amazon? Might the legendary Saxon city of Vinland be resting beneath Baltic waves? The next great discovery could be just a satellite image, a stumbled-upon artifact, or a reinterpreted ancient map away. So let's keep wondering, keep searching. Whether you're an armchair explorer or a history buff, the story of these cities isn't finished. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one to uncover the next great mystery lurking in the shadows of time. Drop your theories in the comments. What lost city fascinates you most, and where do you think the next one might be found? The past is out there, waiting for curious minds to bring it back.